The space station Helios Junction was one of the busiest trade hubs in the outer colonies. Ships from dozens of civilizations docked there every day. Humans, however, were still relatively new to the galactic community. Most species viewed them with curiosity, caution, or quiet amusement. Ethan Ward had gotten used to the stares. He worked as a structural engineer, hired by the station administration to repair aging systems that many alien technicians simply didn't want to deal with. Humans, it turned out, were good at fixing things that looked impossible. Still, walking through Helios Junction's massive central market always felt like entering a completely different universe. Creatures of every shape and color moved through the glowing corridors. Some floated, some walked on four legs, others glided silently across the floor, and every once in a while, one of them stared back at him. But tonight, Ethan wasn't the one being watched. Tonight, he was the one staring. 2. The unusual arrival. It began when a sleek black cruiser docked at Bay 17. The ship didn't match any of the usual merchant vessels. Its hull shimmered with dark metallic patterns that looked almost alive. Station workers whispered as it arrived. That's not a trade vessel. Military? Royal transport, maybe. Ethan happened to be working nearby when the docking clamps locked into place. Curiosity got the better of him. He stepped closer to the observation window just as the ramp lowered. And then he saw her. She stepped down from the ship surrounded by two tall, armored guards. She was clearly alien, but also strangely elegant. Her skin had a faint silver blue tone. Her hair was long and dark, falling across armor that looked both ceremonial and practical. But what really caught Ethan's attention was the way she moved. Graceful, confident, completely aware of everything around her. People in the docking bay began to step aside automatically. Whoever she was important. Ethan didn't mean to stare, but he couldn't help it. 3. The engineer's mistake. Later that evening, Ethan sat in a small cafe overlooking the central market. He was halfway through a cup of station coffee when he noticed movement across the plaza. The same alien woman from the cruiser was walking through the crowd. Without guards this time. She moved slowly, examining the station like someone studying a new world. Ethan leaned forward slightly. He wasn't the only one watching her. Other aliens seemed to recognize her immediately and quickly looked away, which only made Ethan more curious. Who was she? A diplomat? A noble? Maybe even royalty? She paused near a marketplace stall, and for a moment, Ethan's eyes drifted in a direction he probably shouldn't have been looking. Not intentionally. It just happened, and apparently, she noticed. 4. The question. The alien woman stopped walking. Then she slowly turned around. Her glowing violet eyes locked onto Ethan across the plaza. His heart skipped. Oh no. She began walking toward him. Every step seemed calm and deliberate. The entire cafe grew quiet. Ethan sat frozen in his chair as she approached. Finally, she stopped right beside his table. Up close, she was even more striking. Her voice was smooth but direct. Human? Ethan blinked. Yes. She crossed her arms slightly and tilted her head. Why are you staring? 5. The worst possible moment. Every conversation in the cafe suddenly stopped. Ethan felt dozens of eyes turn toward him. His brain scrambled for a response. That was not a great start. The alien woman waited patiently, clearly expecting an answer. Ethan cleared his throat. I didn't mean to stare. Her eyebrow lifted slightly. That does not answer my question. He rubbed the back of his neck. Well, now came the dangerous part. Should he lie? Or tell the truth? He sighed. Honestly? Yes. I've never seen anyone like you before. The cafe remained completely silent. Then something unexpected happened. The alien woman laughed. 6. An unexpected reaction. It wasn't mocking laughter. It sounded genuinely amused. That is your explanation? Ethan shrugged awkwardly. Pretty much. She studied him carefully. You are a very unusual human. I hear that a lot. She glanced around the cafe. May I sit? Ethan gestured to the chair. Of course. She sat down gracefully. Several customers quietly left the cafe. Apparently, conversations with mysterious alien women made people nervous. 7. Her name. After a moment, she spoke again. My name is Sorelia. Ethan nodded. Ethan Ward. Your profession? Station engineer. She looked mildly surprised. You maintain the station's infrastructure? Someone has to. Sorelia leaned back slightly. And yet you spend your time staring at strangers. Ethan groaned. Are we still talking about that? Her eyes sparkled faintly. Yes. 8. A cultural difference. Sorelia tapped her fingers lightly on the table. In my culture, prolonged staring carries meaning. Ethan winced. That sounds bad. It can be. So, what does it mean? She leaned slightly closer. It means interest. Ethan blinked. Interest? Yes. Romantic interest? Potentially. Ethan nearly choked on his drink. That's not what I meant. She smiled. Relax, human. 9. The truth about Sorelia. After several minutes of conversation, Ethan realized something important. Sorelia wasn't just a traveler. She was someone powerful. When he asked her what brought her to Helios Junction, she answered simply, I am observing the outer colonies. Why? To understand emerging civilizations. Ethan raised an eyebrow. That sounds very official. She hesitated, then quietly said, I am the daughter of the Terrandal Empress. Ethan stared. You're a princess? Sorelia nodded calmly. Yes. Ethan leaned back. Of course you are. 10. The princess's curiosity. Sorelia seemed fascinated by humans. You repair things yourself? Yes. You speak openly to strangers? Usually. You admitted to staring without fear. That part might have been a mistake. She shook her head slightly. No. Her voice softened. It was honest. 11. The real reason. Eventually, Sorelia asked him something unexpected. Why did you truly stare? Ethan hesitated, then answered carefully. Because you looked confident. She tilted her head. Confident. Yeah. He gestured around the station. Most people here look nervous or cautious. And I did not. No. You looked like you belonged anywhere you walked. For a moment, she didn't respond. Then she smiled softly. That may be the kindest explanation I have ever heard. 12. A new friendship. Over the next few days, Sorelia continued visiting Ethan. They talked about human culture, alien traditions, engineering, politics, and sometimes they laughed about the first time she confronted him in the cafe. Eventually, Ethan asked something he'd been wondering. Why didn't your guards arrest me? She smiled. For staring. Fair point. Then she said something surprising. Also, I wanted to know why. 13. The moment that started it all. On her final night aboard Helios Junction, Sorelia stood beside Ethan on an observation balcony. Ships drifted slowly through the stars outside. You know, she said quietly. Yes. If I had not turned around that day. Ethan chuckled. You probably would have never talked to me. She shook her head. No. I meant something else. What? She looked at him. Sometimes the smallest moments create the most interesting connections. Ethan smiled. All because I stared? She laughed softly. Yes. Then she added one last time. Human, why were you staring? Ethan shrugged. because something interesting walked into the room. And this time, she didn't argue with the answer.